So these are all things that, again, like I said, you see this whole weekend, but also stuff that affects all of us in our day-to-day life. So just like this weekend, just like a streaming marathon, I know for streamers, they like to do 24-hour birthday marathons or sub-marathons or anything like that, and they don't treat it like a marathon. If you know you're coming to MAGFest and you're not planning to sleep all day or you're not planning to stop walking, then I wouldn't wait until the last second to prepare yourself. I would make sure you have a lot of water, are well hydrated, sleep well, pace yourself. It's a marathon just like anything else, and marathon runners don't show up to the day of the race having not done a single thing to prepare themselves. And if they do, they really regret their choices. So I think treating all long-term gaming sessions, marathons, and events like this, it's important to get good physical activity, keep yourself well hydrated, do get rest, listen to your body, and know when to stop. Do you do gaming marathons ever, or is that something?
No,
yeah,
I can't. I mean, the longest stream I've done is 12 hours, and even then, I feel it for days afterwards. So I know back when I was young, I would stay up all night throughout the night and do these crazy, stay up playing, my Super Nintendo all throughout the night. But the thing is your body, it hurts for several days afterwards. Whether you are really aware of it or not, it's really taking a toll on your body. So I always suggest to, gamers, streamers, when they say, hey, would you recommend a 24-hour marathon? No, absolutely not, because it's just so hard on your body. And after you get past a certain point, you're not giving the attention that you need to your game or to your community or to your chat. There's a wall that you will hit. So I never do marathon gaming. If you're a streamer, usually 4 to 6 hours is my max, because beyond that, I'm just not at 100% anymore.
Right. And so for streamers, that's really important. It's probably better to do 2 10-hour streams or 2 12-hour streams, or even 3 or 4 4 to 6 hour streams throughout the week, and be able to give 100% and your content be high tier, and keep engaged with your chat and have fun and be present, as opposed to doing a 24-hour stream where the first half might be great, but then the last half people are like, this dude's falling asleep at his keyboard, or this is not really fun anymore. And so it also helps you create better content, I think, if you take care of your body. So getting adequate rest is super important. Not being rested does affect your ability to work on all other aspects of your health. You're not going to want to go to the gym, obviously, if you're exhausted. You will have more anxiety and depression, or more severe episodes if you're exhausted. And your reflexes and your hand-eye coordination, for our speed runners, for our esports professionals, or those who want to get into esports or competitive gaming, it takes a toll on your competitive edge. You may think that staying up later to grind more games in and to get more sessions in is going to improve your performance, but really the person who spends 5 more hours sleeping and getting adequate rest, as opposed to the person who spent 5 more hours gaming, is going to do better, because their body is rested, their eyes are rested, they can do more quick movements, have better hand-eye coordination, and it makes you a better gamer overall. So it's important to be honest with yourself. It's important to know when to take a break, know when to rest, and listen to yourself. So that's
It takes a lot of discipline to say, I'm going to stop playing right now to go do what's best for my body. I mean, who's here's played a game where you're like fighting a boss, or you're doing some really hard mission or whatever, and you've been playing for a long time and you can't do it. You decide to go to sleep the next morning, you get it like first try. I don't know. That's happened to me a lot. I see everyone nodding. So that's your body telling you like you needed that rest. So But it's hard. And it takes a lot of discipline for you to take a step back and be very self-aware and say, hey, this is what I need. But I guarantee you, you'll be a much more productive person, not just in the gaming world, but also if in your personal life, your job, your streaming world, you'll just be a more effective and productive person.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I know the con is wrapping up, but this is really important. I see a lot of people leaving the con, and then on social media for days afterwards, I hear like, I guess I was patient zero, or who was patient zero, because everybody left and got sick. So the most important thing that you can do is hand washing. I know at the hospital that I work at, or any hospital, people assume that we have some great technology or some special things that we do to ensure that we don't get sick or we don't spread things to our patients or our patients don't spread things to us. But really, the number one thing we do, it's not special technology, it's not a special method, it's literally washing our hands. We have a foam in, foam out policy. Every time we go into a room, we foam in. Every time we come out, we foam out. Anytime we change gloves or touch anything, because that is the 100% best way to not get sick and prevent the spread of germs. So surprisingly, I feel like we maybe learn this along the way, or we have heard it, but we don't often put it into practice. Even though 71% of people say they do wash their hands regularly, it shows 58% of people have witnessed others leaving the bathroom without washing their hands. And more than half of people say they don't do it if they have ridden public transportation or touch exercise equipment or money. So 71% may say they do it, but half of you are being watched not doing some of these things. So it's just important to really wash your hands. I carry hand sanitizer religiously because now I'm a germaphobe. And I don't know about you guys, but I spent this whole con being kind of hyper aware because of what I do, and I can't tell you how many people I saw like sneezing in their hands and coughing in their hands and then being like, I'm gonna play this game, and touching all over the controllers and touching all over the joysticks. And then I'm like,
the faces I was I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm just like, I was just like, I need a bleach wipe. Like what? I'm so grossed out. But so I was just like looking like an evil villain the whole time, like rubbing my hands with hand sanitizer. But
yes, there you go.
So I think it's important to make sure you have a way or know a way to wash your hands and do everything. So another thing is to try to look super cool. Don't sneeze into your hands or cough into your hands. The best practice is to use your elbow or your sleeve. And then also, if you fist bump instead of handshake, it's there's studies out there that it transfers less germs. So if you go around and dab and fist bump, then you look much cooler too. So right? That's not old yet, right?
Do you have a question?
Yeah, what do you think about the policy of sneezing into your shirt like this?
What?
Coughing into your shirt like this?
So the question was, what do you think about sneezing like into your shirt?
Right.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's infinitely better than sneezing or coughing into your hand. So anything that will cover your mouth. I mean, I think the best method is probably like a tissue or something that's disposable, and then you can wash your hands afterwards. But something that's not coming into constant contact with the world around you. So that's why the interior of your elbow, the shirt sleeve, the inside of your shirt, that's still better than your hands, definitely. So, and then we go right back to rest, hydration, nutrition. If your body is weak, if you're not doing what you're supposed to do to take care of your body cannot take care of you. So you can wash your hands as much as you want, you can avoid sick contacts as much as you want, but if you don't keep your body strong and your immune system strong, then there's still the potential that you will get sick. So everything we talk about, and you'll see it in a moment, is all connected. It's not just one aspect of health that is going to keep you going and keep you strong and keep you from getting sick. You have to maintain this whole wheel of wellness. And sometimes it's really hard. And all we can do is just take simple steps to try to make a big difference. So the last thing I want to say is get your flu shot, get your immunizations. Every year I have to because I work with in the hospital and with sick patients, but I do it also because I want to. There are people that can't get the shots, there are people that are allergic, and there are people that have compromised immune systems who can't do it, and I help protect them when I do that. And I can tell you that I do have patients now coming in, and I just saw in the news that Tennessee is having one of the worst outbreaks of flu right now. So it's important to make sure that you get those immunizations and you protect yourself and you protect people that you care about, because it's a big deal and people do die. So get your flu shot. And I saw some really cool things in the marketplace. Those disposable masks that were pretty cool. I got one of those. I haven't done a lot of research to see if, I'm sorry, reusable masks, not disposable. But I haven't done a lot of research to see if the reusable ones are still cool as opposed to disposable, but they look much cuter, so we'll see. But all right, and here's that wheel that we talked about. Every single aspect of health is connected to another. You can't just have strong mental health and neglect your physical health. You can't just eat right without exercising. I know everyone talks about these things, but trying to see them all together is really important. For your mental health, if you don't feel mentally strong, if you're having severe anxiety attacks, if you're having a depressive episode, you're not going to feel like making nutritious food, eating nutritious food, making meal plans, doing meal prep. You're not going to feel like going to the gym. You may not even feel like getting out of bed. So taking care of your mental health is a big step to taking care of the rest of your health. And if you don't eat well, if you don't eat nutritiously, then you can increase your risk of having those more severe depressive episodes and more frequently, as well as anxiety and all other mental health issues that someone may be suffering with. It is true in a sense that you are what you eat. If you eat like garbage, you will feel more like garbage. So it's important to take care of all of these things, and we'll go more in depth into this sort of thing. So I think, and here we talk about which aspect of those do you feel strongly in? Or do you feel like you could work more on? It's important to identify the things that you do well and the things that you want to work on and the goals that you have. So building that strategy, saying, this time I want to work, maybe in 3 months I want to not smoke any cigarettes. Or in 3 months I want to go to the gym once a week. Or I want to cut out sodas and only drink water. Just one step can make a huge difference for the stuff you want. So setting goals, having people next to you to help you, building a support system, and then knowing when to say no when those things don't align with your goals.
I think one of the hardest things to figure out is self-awareness and figuring out what your strengths and weaknesses are, and being honest with yourself as to the things that you maybe are really good at and things you're not so great at. But sometimes that's the hardest thing, is figuring out what things we do need to work on. I feel like as a streamer, I'm so focused on the things I need to do to better my stream or grow my community, but it's really all of that ties into how I'm feeling and the type of experience I can provide my community. And if I'm feeling like garbage, I can't give them everything that they deserve. So it took a really big it was a big aha moment for me when I had to take a step back and say, whoa, like these are the things I need to change lifestyle-wise to be able to provide what I need to for my community. Maybe for people who aren't streamers, maybe it's for, you know, your job or the hobbies that you have outside of gaming. It's like you can't give the people and the things around you that you care about 100% if you're not feeling great. So taking a step back and being really critical as to what your weaknesses are is really, really important.
Yeah, absolutely. And learning how to say no and learning how to stick to your goals is very important as well. And it can be very hard, because if you have set a goal in mind and you have a community or you have friends that are all going out to get fast food or do something that you have set a goal for that you don't want to do anymore. You want to eat less fast food. You don't want to go out and drink. You want to cut out some certain aspects. It may make things harder for you. So finding other resources to help you through that is really important. And being able to tell yourself that it's okay to set boundaries is really important. I think, what's a goal that you have for this year?
Streaming wise?
Any-wise.
You know, something that I really am passionate about is raising money for the Lupus Foundation. Since I was diagnosed with lupus quite a long time ago, over 10 years ago, I want to help fundraise for that charity. So
yeah. So I think that's a great goal, and I think that, you know, when you talk about setting goals for yourself to reach that goal, you know you have to take care of yourself in order to stream and to produce the content that's going to make that goal for you, to raise that money. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, this is my section here. Who here is maybe not a streamer but a content creator of sorts? Wow, still not as many as I thought there would be.
Kind of also on YouTube.
Yeah,
But
you do YouTube also? Okay, awesome. All right, so please ask questions. I just like to drive awareness around battling a chronic illness and trying to be a content creator / business owner, because that's what you are. You are running your own business if you're a streamer, or if you make videos for YouTube, or if you're a social media influencer. I think that you need to take control of what has been handed to you. So if you battle, it could be any chronic illness, physical or mental, if you battle depression, anxiety, or an autoimmune disease, it's about taking control of your health. So are you being active in finding the right doctors for you? Are you making sure you're finding doctors that will work with what you expect as far as your quality of life? Are you really taking the time outside of the things you need to do to create a team around you to really help make you at your 100% so you can give that 100% to your audience? Never be ashamed to stand up for yourself and do what you need to do for yourself, because I know sometimes, especially me as a streamer, I'm like, oh, I have to stream today. It's on my schedule. I can't let my community down. There's this overwhelming pressure to sometimes go outside of your comfort zone, or something that you maybe aren't capable of doing in that moment, and that's not the right thing to do. The most important thing is that you take care of yourself. So for those of you that maybe aren't diagnosed, or maybe are feeling, you know, some type of way and you're looking to get help, you're like in the early stages of kind of figuring out, you know, what's going on, keep a wellness log. I know it's very cliche and people probably say that a lot, but it's true. Start taking down things that you're feeling. How are you feeling when you wake up in the morning? How are you feeling when you are going to bed at night? If it's raining outside, how are you feeling? If it's sunny outside, if it's cold, if it's hot, all of those things matter. And that kind of helps with the self-awareness piece, being able to understand how you're feeling and when you're feeling it. And that's important for your doctors to know as well. This could also be around triggers too. So life is hard. let's be real, life is hard, and everyone has stressors. It could be financial stressors, it could be relationships stressors, family stressors, and identifying those is really important. I think most people will say that stress is one of the worst things for you, and I'm sure everybody can relate to some sort of stress in their life, but it's those types of things that you can help reduce in your life to really help further yourself in your wellness. Please jump in at any point.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I want you to talk about this. Yeah, so, I mean, I think that it's really important to have someone like Coco who does stream full-time and deals with just knowing that a flare could occur anytime. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about this later, but one of the things that I realize is that a lot of people in the community do suffer from a chronic illness or suffer from things that do impact how they play, how they live, and how they create content. And when you're trying to have a good time, like this weekend, and you have to constantly plan around allergies, insulin, anxiety, social disorders, it can make things difficult, and not a lot of people understand that you have a whole nother level of things you're dealing with. Some people can get up, get ready, go downstairs, play games, do whatever, and then other people have to deal with, you know, am I going to be too overwhelmed with all the people here today? Am I going to have a flare? Am I going to have enough carbs? Am I going to need to take my medication, and do I have access to it? And all of these things are other levels that they have to think about when they do things in a weekend like this. So I think having a support system around you to help you deal with this is really important. Going to the first aid, or going to mods, or going to a community, family, friends, making sure people know, hey, I have this disease, and sometimes this can happen. And when this happens, I need to do this. And it can be for anything. I have diabetes, and I need to eat at certain times, but if I don't, I could have a low blood sugar crisis. And when that happens, I will get really pale, I'll get really sweaty, lethargic, and when that happens, I need somebody to give me sugar right away. Or I have an anxiety disorder. Sometimes in crowds, I can panic and I can hyperventilate, and if that happens, I need you to take me out. So communicating is a big deal, and making sure you have people with you is very important, especially for events like this, or just trying to live as normal a life as we can.
I think with the stigma around, especially around, you know, mental illness, it's tough to be open about what you're feeling or what's going on with you. But people, your support system will not be able to help you if you're not honest. And for someone like me who's a streamer, my moderators, the people that help run my channel, are some of my closest people that know everything that's going on, because it's not fair to them if I can't communicate with them. So if I'm having a bad day, or if I need to, you know, they can go to the community and say, hey, you know, we're not gonna have a stream today, or, you know, maybe if I have to go to the hospital, they're able to help communicate on my behalf. They are the people that are there to support me. And so I think that when it comes to building a support system, just being honest with yourself and with them, that's the best that's gonna come out of having your support system like that. So another thing is routines. For people who are battling chronic illness, the scariest part is the unknown. You don't know, like you said, when I'm gonna have a lupus flare, or when I'm gonna be sick, and that's with pretty much any chronic illness. So setting yourself up with routines that you can control is a huge help in setting up your day for success. So if it's, like for me, it's a morning routine. I have pretty much the same routine I have every morning, because in my head, it's like, hey, I can control this. This is what I know. This is what I know is going to go in a certain way. And it helps me process the fact that there might be other things with my health that I can't control throughout the day. And some people do different routines. Again, you got to figure out what's right for you and your situation. And then establishing goals. Nerdy Nursey here said earlier, it's small little things, make small goals. Be very self-aware as to what you can accomplish. Don't make these huge, lavish goals, especially if you know you're gonna have challenges along the way. I think that as content creators, it's really hard to avoid comparing yourself to other content creators or other streamers or even other gamers, right? If you pride yourself in being a really accomplished gamer and you're seeing someone else doing, even better, it's really hard to not compare yourself to them. And for people who are battling chronic diseases, you are playing in hard mode. You have 10 other obstacles that you have to overcome before you reach your goal. And that's okay, and no one should be upset about that or ashamed of that. It's just you're doing something, you're achieving the same goal just a little bit differently. So.
Absolutely. And I think that, like she said, when you're avoiding making these big lavish goals, I think that is a downfall that a lot of people do when they are trying to improve their health. They automatically think that in order to improve their health or be well, they have to change everything all at once. Every aspect of that wheel they have to make a change for. They have to go to the doctor, go to the therapist, start taking meds, or cut out all sugar, cut out all carbs, go to the gym 3 times a week. They set all these goals for all these things that they want to do that they think they have to all at the same time, and then they quit very quickly because they realize that that's not sustainable. And so I think that making these small goals is very important, because once you start making them, they do all add up, but you don't have to try to change your life right away and basically have a whole different life to try to be healthy. You can still do all the things that you do now and just make small changes. So I think that's very important to know, and it helps people kind of get on a track where they can be more successful for a longer time. So we do talk about mental health. I think that it's my personal opinion that it's the foundation on which all other aspects of health are built, because your brain controls everything that you do. And so it's going to control whether you're able to do all of the rest of these things. Like she said, it's kind of difficult to work on because a lot of people don't talk about it. And every single person can have it in different ways. So my depression doesn't work the same as someone else's depression, and my anxiety doesn't manifest itself the way another person's anxiety will. So, and while those two things can be experienced separately, a lot of times they do occur together. And so it's important to, when you do go to a doctor or when you're trying to get medications, you are diagnosed correctly. Do you have both? Do you have one? Do you have the other? And are you on medications to treat both if you have both? And then, especially in events like this, especially for content creators, indie game makers, esports professionals, streamers, developers, and nurses. I know I can speak from experience, but I think there's an aspect of this in any job, is stress and burnout is a huge factor, and we don't take it very seriously, we don't prioritize it, and we don't really pay attention to it as much as we should, because once you start burning out, that's the beginning of the end of whatever you're doing. If you're in a team sport, if you're in a team game, if you are developing a piece of content and you start to get stressed out and burnt out on it, the end result may not be as good as you would like it to be. It may turn into something that you don't even like to see after you're done. It doesn't make you happy to have produced it, and you may not want to do it anymore after that. And the whole point of trying to be healthy is so that you can do all of these things that you love to do and go all of these places that you like to go, like this convention, and continue to do those happily for as long as you can. So trying to combat stress and burnout is super, super important. What are some things that you do when you get really stressed out over a game? Like when you're speed running and you're starting to get burnout and you're starting to get too stressed out over your runs.
I mean, I think every person's different, so you have to see what works for you. For me, it's, a day in the sunshine, which I know as gamers sometimes we don't get very often, but it's something that's going to refresh you. It's that self-awareness piece. I also think it's important that if you do make small changes to reward yourself. I think that when we're really down or you're going through a depressive episode or an anxiety attack or whatnot, you're so wrapped up in why you are feeling those things, and you're not, for me personally, I never reward myself for the small achievements that I make. So if you had a bad day and you got out of bed that day, like, reward yourself. If you didn't think you were gonna get out of bed and you do it, reward yourself. Because it's not about doing all these things at once. It's if you are stuck in a state where getting out of bed is difficult and you do it, do something for yourself that day. Go get that sushi or go get that massage. Mm-hmm. You're like, yes, get that sushi. Yeah. But just whatever, or whatever it is that's gonna make you feel, accomplished. It's important, especially if you're having some bad mental health days.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of MAG is about the music, and I think music is really, really important in combating mental health issues, at least for me. I know listening to music, and I know that for some, creating music is a huge outlet and a big help when it comes to de-stressing, reducing anxiety, fighting depression. So it's really important that when you're putting yourself in a position that might stress you out, or if you're doing something or know you will do something that might elevate your anxiety, then you have those coping skills next to you, near you, or you have a way to access them. In something like this, if you're starting to get anxious and there's like a place to go rock out and you want to go do that or go listen to it, then go out there. Go to one of the jam spaces and dance, or go to the jam space and jam. Go back to the hotel room, journal, draw, go to the quiet room, which is an amazing resource here at MAGFest, where you can just relax and drink a tea or get some coffee, which sometimes doesn't help with anxiety because caffeine kind of can make it worse, but whatever helps you be you and reduce those negative feelings and cope with what you're doing is really important, to find that outlet and to find a way to access that outlet, because the outlet's no good if you can't use it. And participating in social activities, going up to pose, hanging out with friends, going out to eat, getting out of the hotel and into the fresh air is helpful. I know a lot of people spend the entire day, 3 days here, 3 or 4 days. And so sometimes just walking out for a minute and walking down to get something from somewhere that's not here could just make a world of difference. So, and then we're talking about walking around and walking out. I spent a lot of this convention looking around at everyone, sitting on the floor for jam spaces, playing at the PC area, playing at the console area, playing at the pinball and arcade machines, and I'm just like, your posture sucks, your posture sucks, your posture sucks, you're gonna hurt later, you're really gonna hurt later, because everybody's just like this the whole weekend. And I can't believe some people who are doing that for hours and hours and hours, and then sleeping in the chairs curled up, sleeping on the floor. And then I'm like, how do you wake up and not hate yourself? And how does your back not hate you? So I think it's important to know where your center of gravity is, know where your spine is in line, which we're actually going to do something in a second to figure that out. Get up and move every hour, do simple exercises, do wrist, arm, and hand exercises, which we'll also show you in a minute. And just make sure you're moving. Make sure your body is in the right position so that you don't hurt later, so that you can do this for longer. Because I guarantee you, you will get tired more quickly, you will hurt faster, and you will be able to sit out here and game for a shorter period of time in these rooms if you're bent over like that. You're gonna be like, I gotta get up. So it's important to remember these things when you're gaming, but also when you're creating your content, when you're spending long times editing, when you're spending long times coding for games, or I know there's a lot of people in the community who have IT or desk jobs, and so it's important that we are not just doing this while we're gaming, but we're doing this at any time while we're at a desk. Standing desks are great because they allow you to keep working but also getting up. I know they're expensive. I don't have one. I wish I did, but sometimes spending some money to get higher quality chairs or support braces or peripherals and keyboards and mice that are a little bit better fit for your hands and wrists can really make a big difference on how long you're able to work at your desk or how long you're able to game. So that's the whole point of why we're doing this, is so that you can do those things that you love for longer and feel better doing them. On my stream, I have a command in my chat that once people start talking and once I start gaming, every 20 minutes a command will pop up and say, hey, it's time to look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to prevent eye strain. And sometimes it happens at the worst possible moment. And I'm like, I'm in the middle of a team fight. I can't exactly look away right now. And that's fine. But I try my best to do it right after or do it before. Stand up and stretch. Blue light is deeply damaging and disruptive. And there are peripherals that are supposed to help with that, gunner glasses or other glasses. I haven't actually seen any evidence or any papers that have been written that corroborate that. I don't see why it wouldn't maybe help, but for now, I think the jury might be out on that one for now. But I'd love to see more research and more publishing on if those make a big difference or if they're just kind of marketing things. I do know what does help, though, and that's the 20-20-20 rule that I just talked about, which is taking every 20 minutes, taking a couple, 20 seconds and looking at something, readjust your eyes, making sure you have more than one light source in the room, and lowering your screen brightness. I have noticed that times where I'm using this 20-20-20 rule during my streams and I'm reminded of this, I can look at my screens longer without feeling dryness, without feeling pain, without getting headaches. And then times when I've forgotten for a long time, I can tell because my eyes are so dry and they're so irritated. And so I definitely can tell that it makes a difference. All right, so here we go. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna show some of these exercises that I think are really important to do every hour or before or after you stream. I do these before I stream every time. I may not do them on stream. Sometimes I do them before I go live, but sometimes I will do them right before we game.
She does do them. Every time I'm there, she's doing exercises.
Just because I have noticed the difference. I've noticed that my reactions are a little bit quicker. My ability to move is improved, and I feel like it does improve my gaming. So let's start with the spine flexion and extension. So
Yes, participants. We were really worried that no one was going to stand up.
Yeah. But we've been standing for a while, so and I mean the whole point of this is I got to practice what I preach. So we're gonna do spinal flexion and extension, which will also help you find your the neutral position of your spine. So we're gonna start with flexion, which is just basically having your feet shoulder length apart and going all the way down like you're touching your toes. Don't hurt yourself though.
I know, I'm like...
if you can touch your toes, great. If you can't, don't try to hurt yourself. The point is not to hurt. The point is to just feel a stretch.
Ooh, honey, I got to do some more stretches.
I know. So, and I mean, so just to let you know, I've been doing this for a long time. I can touch the floor and my toes, so it does help. It keeps your flexibility. It keeps your strength. It improves the way that you do things. And this is just little stuff that I do, and it does make a difference. So once you go all the way down, and I'm going to actually go down.
All right.
But once you go all the way down, you go up slowly. You come back up slowly. So.
I know, I was like, ooh, I gotta do some more stretches.
Well, and that's the point. When you start doing these for longer, these are the things that you can do. So you go up slowly, and then you do the extension. And last time I did this, my back cracked so loud and everybody heard it. Yeah. And then when you come back, you'll feel a point where everything is in line. And that's your correct posture. That's your correct neutral spinal position. So yeah, that's that. And I do that every time. And I actually do it not just before I stream, but standing in these long lines for some of the games. I was doing that for Rocksmith. I was standing in a really long line, and I was starting to feel the tension, and so I was just doing that, and I think people are looking at me like I was crazy, but it definitely helps. And so now we can do stuff just sitting down if you want.
I feel like I can breathe better.
I know. So these next two are really important for those people who are at their PCs using their keyboards, using their mice, and doing a lot of drawing, a lot of content creation, and just a lot of movements with their hands, wrists, and arms. So we'll do wrist flexion and extension first. So it's just like we were doing with our spine. We'll put our hands up, like stop, and then we just pull backwards on them. Not enough to hurt yourself, of course, just enough to feel a stretch. And I let mine up like this, so I'm just stretching it out. And I do this about 5 to 10 times. And then I go the other way and stretch this muscle out, and you will feel it all the way up here. So it's important to know when you feel this, like just this movement affects all of this. So you're seeing what you're moving. And then I do the other wrist. I know. And it's a myth that popping your joints will give you arthritis, by the way. So don't let people tell you that not to do that. I mean, that maybe people think it's rude, but it won't hurt you later. And then wrist rotation. So just fists and rotating them.
I'm hearing all sorts of cracks in
know.
my wrists and stuff. I
And
don't know
then
about you guys.
the other way.
You're hearing some good stuff out there?
Right? And then the deviation, which is side to side. And if you curl your thumb into your fist and do it side to side, you'll feel greater stretches here. And this is where the carpal tunnel is for, this is where carpal tunnel pain is felt when you do this. And so this will help prevent that. This will help strengthen that area. So that's very important. And then the last one we do is to bring both of those things together, the wrists and arms and the back, and do these crossbody arm stretches. And so it's literally just that, just until you feel a stretch. And I just hold it for a while, a little bit, until I feel stretch. And then I go the other way. And like I said, this is all stuff, we just been sitting here, we just been doing it. This is all stuff you can do before you get to work, sit down and get to work and start streaming or start creating. I mean, I feel much better now.
I timed us. It took us 4 minutes.
Yeah. So, and like with the eye exercises or the 20-20-20 rule, I notice a big difference between when I do these and when I don't do these. When I take the time and do all of those things, my gaming is improved. I feel like I can do it for longer. Like I'm ready to go. I'm ready to game, I'm ready to play. This will also help for those of you who play music and who played music here, because instruments are heavy as crap, I know. The straps are uncomfortable, they sit on you, they weigh on you, and then drumming has to be, I know it's really hard because he has blisters right now from doing it. So all of these things also will improve how you're able to play, not just games, but music. So anything you do here at MAGFest, you can take 4 minutes, do these little things, and you'll be able to do them for longer, and you'll feel better when you're done. So, all right. Moving to taking care of your body and giving yourself the energy to do those exercises and to take care of your physical health. I talk about this, or I ask this every time, and most people have no idea that we no longer use the food pyramid anymore, and that is gone. We now have My Plate. Bless you.
Bless you.
I like your elbow use. But
let's get a round of applause.
Yeah.
We're learning something here, guys.
Let's do it. So, no more food pyramid. Now it's My Plate. So you can't just pick one part of the food pyramid you like and only eat that and say you're eating healthily because you're eating from the food pyramid. Now it's this, making half of your meal fruits and vegetables, having grains, having one protein or a quarter protein, and then having a dairy option. So, of course, you don't have to have all of them at every meal, and you don't have to have like in this specific setup with the dairy being your drink or whatever. You can have like cheese or whatever you like, but it's just showing you that for every meal you should have a good division of these particular types of foods. Varying your food choices, choosing whole grains and low-fat options. But I think for me at least, even more importantly than re-educating myself on what is the best as far as eating nutritiously, is making small changes to my personal food habits. This is probably one of the biggest things I struggle with personally in keeping myself well, because I am an insanely picky eater, and I really only like to eat chicken nuggets and French fries. And
We go to an Asian restaurant, like, it's the first.
yeah. So even like in Chinese restaurants, I'll order French fries at least and ask if they have chicken nuggets or whatever. But still, this being my weakest link, I know that a lot of times I'm not going to eat very healthily, but I can try to make small changes. Like, I love going to Red Robin because they have endless French fries, but they also have endless salad that you can swap out. So I'll eat one of the French fry baskets that they'll give me, and then I'll be like, all right, I want a salad next. Then I'll eat that. And so just small stuff like that, small stuff that I know I can get something that I like, and I can still make one change or turn one small unhealthy habit into a healthy one. I know you have some things that you do, some snacks that you have set up. Bubbly, give her a call because she drinks bubbly like every
So I was a big,
time.
I drank a ton of Diet Coke. That was like my drink. I loved it. The caffeine was great. But it was terrible for me. So I decided to switch to sparkling water. And bubbly is my sparkling water of choice, but I always have it. I never buy soda. And it was one simple thing that I changed that really helped out with the way that I felt. And I was hydrating myself on top of it. So that was something really small that I did that made just such a big difference. Before I became a full-time streamer, I worked in retail for 12 years. And so I was up on my feet all the time, working 12-hour shifts, running around. Like, I was busy. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm now going to be at my desk all the time. And I'm afraid I'm going to like blow up like a balloon because now I'm not going to get any, But I found that when I was able to eat at home and for breakfast, I could have like oatmeal and a banana versus the pastry and vanilla latte from Starbucks. That simple change completely changed my day around. And it was something small, and I didn't change my entire diet. It wasn't a huge lifestyle change. It was just now that I had access to something a little bit healthier in the mornings, my energy levels were better. I actually ended up, losing weight when I became a streamer, which I was certain it was going to be the opposite way around, but it was like those little changes and I still indulge in the occasional ice cream and those types of things, but again, just one little change and it makes a big difference.
Absolutely. And I think that, for not just streamers, but for people who work jobs, like you said, like I do work 12-hour shifts, and when I have so many patients that I can't really leave to eat, or if I do, I have to pick like literally whatever is in the cafeteria or whatever fast food will deliver or whatever. I mean, it's hard for me to make those healthy choices. So I have to really plan in advance. I have to meal prep, I have to pack lunches, I have to pack snacks that are easy to grab and easy to stick in scrub pockets and won't melt. And so granola bars, breakfast bars, just things that are easy for me to get are great. And I try to, like she said, I really want to try to replace like a pastry with a fruit because they're just as handheld and just as easy to grab, and in most cases just as filling. And instead of loading you up on nothing, they load you up on some really good vitamins, and that's one of my goals this year is to eat more fruit. I really wish fruit tasted more like French fries, but I don't know. We'll see.
It's something that I see a lot too is that people are like, for lunch they'll get, a big old burger from somewhere, and then they're like, oh, well, I've already ruined my day. I might as well just eat poorly the rest of the day. But no, don't do that. If you have a misstep during the day and you decide to indulge, that's fine. But continue on with maybe a healthier choices the rest of the day. So it's like, just because maybe you indulged in something at one point, that's totally fine, and we all deserve that. But don't let that dictate the rest of your day. If you have an option to eat healthier later on in the day, do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And something that I also saw this whole weekend is make the time to eat. I know people are playing games for 10 hours and waiting in line and going to concerts and jamming around and not going to sleep. And the prices in this place are really expensive, but you have got to make time to eat. Don't choose gaming over eating. Don't choose con life over eating. Don't choose whatever content that you're indulging in over making sure your body has the energy to continue to do it, because it will stop. If you don't make time for your body to rest, your body will force you to, and it won't be as nice about it. And then bringing it back to how everything is connected and everything is like this health wheel, is that a study was done showing that a poor diet has been linked to poor mental health in children and adolescents as they grow up, which lead to poor mental health in adults when they grow up to become them. So eating like garbage will make you feel like garbage, like I said. So it's important to know your resources and just try to do the little things that you can do to make a difference. All right. And here's an aspect of health that I don't usually see talked about. Financial wellness, because this is not a cheap thing to do. This is not a cheap community to be a part of. Gaming is expensive, streaming is expensive, attending these conventions is incredibly expensive and time consuming. Not only can you not work if you're here, but the convention's prices itself are really insane, and you just have to do your best and to make sure that while you're able to do the things that you love to do and be a part of this community that you love, you're also taking care of yourself and your future and your family as far as finances, especially when it comes to health, because insurance is a big deal. Paying for illness is a big deal. It only takes one illness for a lot of people to go into a debt they can never get out of again. So that can lead to people avoiding health visits and avoiding going to the doctor, which is not something that I want to see happen. But I do understand that for some people it's not something that they can avoid. And then people who do want to stream or people who do want to create content do need to be honest with themselves about their ability to live their lifestyle and take care of themselves, and be able to afford to do that with the content that they create. You have to be your own tax guide, right? And you have to pay for your own insurance if you're a full-time streamer. I'm not. I stream part-time, so I have a job that gives me insurance and that will help me with my taxes, but tell us some of the stuff that you have to do as a full-time streamer for that.
You have to be extremely proactive. Before I became full-time, I did work full-time in retail, and then I was a part-time streamer and then made the switch. But beforehand, I made monthly budgets. I factored in that I'm not going to have insurance through my job anymore. I'd have to get it on my own. Having lupus, medications, doctor's visits, blood work, all of these things that went in, that not only do I have to pay for those things, but now I have to pay for insurance on top of that. That may not be as good as the insurance that I was getting through my job. Same thing with taxes. When you are a streamer or content creator, it's not taxed. So you have to put aside, you have to be very disciplined in putting a certain amount aside and making sure that you're not getting in trouble with, the IRS when you're a streamer, because you will have to pay that at the end of the year. So there are a lot of things as far as content creation goes. If you're a content creator or you're looking to become one, definitely something to consider, because if you are not financially in a good place, that can add so many stressors to your life that can make you sicker or can keep you from being at your 100% when you're providing content to your audience. The last thing that you want to worry about is the financial aspect. You should be worrying about what video you're going to put out next, or what game you're going to play on stream next, or, if you're a casual gamer, it's the same thing. Don't prioritize that hobby over your financial wellness, because it's something that can make you, can put you worse off in the long run.
And it can make your content worse off. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So I know people who want to make games, people who want to make music, people who want to make content, people want to stream. That all requires money, and it all requires you to be present and to be strong to make this stuff the best that it can be. And that requires that you get checkups and you take your medicine and that you take breaks and that you take care of yourself. So in order to be the best we can be, we have to take all of this stuff into account. All right, and so using your resources is a great way to do that. Not just for finances, but for all aspects of health. I do believe Twitch has some resources for like tax help and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there are resources everywhere. You just have to know where to look. These are some big ones as far as mental health, emotional wellness, substance abuse, autoimmune related diseases, cancer, but also just other support. I know my community offers support as far as content that I make that helps with these exercises, helps with communication, helps with, if I don't have a resource personally, or if I can't be your resource personally, I can help you find one that can. And I think that having support is a big step into making these changes, because no one can do that on their own. I know Coco works with heart support.
I do.
Coco raises money for the Lupus Foundation. And I know a lot of them have a lot of support opportunities.
I mean, if you are battling lupus or an autoimmune disorder, I have a lot of resources in regards to those specific ailments. For heart support, it is a nonprofit organization that was actually pretty rooted in the music community and has kind of expanded to the streaming community on Twitch. They have free mental health resources for people suffering depression, anxiety, addiction, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts, and they do streams 3 times a week to help support that community. But they are a great resource, and they can help provide places to go if you're battling some mental illness and can't get the help that you need.
And I think they even provide, one therapy session.
7 days. They do have a trial for 7 days of professional help. Yes.
Okay. So, which is great, and I love them. And it's important, and it's cool that you mentioned the music thing too, since this is part music, part gaming festival.
Do we have musicians here?
Yeah.
Okay. This is such a cool group of people. This is my first time at this convention, and just all the people from all the different facets of the community. It's just so cool. We have content creators, we have streamers, I've
been telling her for years, I'm like, MAGFest is my favorite convention right now, it's always been, and I just love going and seeing how everyone is just so supportive of each other, and you have, gamers or skill crane enthusiasts or guitarists, drummers, people who just love video game music in general. And they just all come together and just make one of the best communities that I've ever seen. So it's really a testament to how great a community can be and how great support can be. So I want you guys to have that, and I want you guys to examine and see who your support is, and when you have goals that you want to think about changing, or goals that you want to reach, just figure out how to work that support in, and how to use this community to help benefit you and to help benefit each other. And also, when you have this community and the things that you love to do, how to make that a coping skill, how to make that work to your advantage when you are doing something really difficult like changing a lifestyle habit. And so I know we have a lot of content and we have a lot of resources for you, and you can reach us at all of these places. We have stuff going on everywhere all the time, I think. Just trying to reach out as much as we can. I know for the most part, we are on Twitch mostly. And I think that she has a set schedule. I, unfortunately, because of nursing, don't have as great of a set schedule, but that's another thing that I'm hoping to work on.
But if you guys have any questions outside, I mean, we'll leave it open if you guys want to
Yeah.
talk to us or whatever. We are happy to answer questions. But if you aren't comfortable here, or if you want to reach out to us, if you have a question that pops up later, please feel free to reach out. We're here. Or if you need help finding resources, we are totally here for you. We appreciate you guys sitting here through our spiel.
Thank you guys so much.
So thank you. You guys are too kind. I think that with the stigma with mental health and physical health, it's tough sometimes to reach out. But just know that if you are struggling with something, you are not alone, and life is hard. And you should be proud of, if you're a content creator or if you're a gamer, be proud of your accomplishments.
If you're a human and you're still here, be proud of yourself.
Yeah, I mean, we want to hear those too. If you have best practices, like, we're always like trying to take in information. If you have best practices that have worked for you,
Yeah.
we would love to hear them. If you have a
Yeah.
story, we would love to hear them. Please don't be afraid to reach out.
Yeah, and put it up. If you add us on these social medias with a story or with something that works for you, do it, and I'll spread it, because, you know, something that works for me might not work for someone else, but something that works for you might work for them. So getting that message out and spreading just knowledge of how to help each other and being there for each other, that's part of what the internet is for. And so I think it would be really great to have this community that all shares the things that work for them and that benefit them, or triggers that they have that other people might avoid and not know. Yeah, what's up?
I suffer from a chronic illness that was diagnosed in my 30s, and I just wanted to share with other people who may be recently diagnosed or working towards a diagnosis, what problems they don't know, is learn how to self-advocate, be your own advocate. And if you can't do it for yourself because doctors make you really nervous, find someone to help you to take to doctor's appointments with you. And reset your idea of success, so you're not comparing yourself to your old self, and that way you can make your goals more attainable or smaller steps to get to where you want to be. Don't compare yourself to anyone else.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it. That's awesome.
Yeah. So she also suffers from a chronic illness, and she said that what helps her is to be her own advocate and to find physicians that listen to her, and if they intimidate you, or if going to the doctor intimidates you, to find someone who will go with you, who can help you, who can help say, hey, didn't you want to tell them about this? Or remind you that this is what you're here to talk about, and you won't take no for an answer. It's always fine to get a second opinion, to ask for another test. Being someone who works closely in the hospital with people, I know it can be hard, and doctors can be intimidating even to me. And sometimes we don't know the right questions to ask or the right things to say in order to get the test done or to get the result that we want. But there is someone there to help you. There's patient advocates provided by the hospital, there's family, there's your nurses. Please utilize us. I am more than willing to be a go-between for a patient and a physician. Because a physician is only in your room or talks to you for a limited amount of time, and I'm there with you. the whole time. So tell me what scares you. Tell me what questions you have. Tell me what things that you want to see done with your treatment. And I'll communicate that. We'll communicate that to the doctor. And then she also said to repeat your affirmation. Tell yourself where you want to go. Don't compare yourself to who you used to be, and just tell yourself what you want to do. Yeah. So
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. We have to repeat it, by the way, in the mic. That's why I did all that.
We have notes here telling us to repeat so that they can hear.
So yeah, if anyone has questions or wants to come up or wants to talk about stuff,
We'll be here for a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.